Good morning and welcome back. It is Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. And outside, well, the official forecast is promising that classic Haagselig at, the gentle southern breeze.
Right. A lovely, tranquil picture, which feels, shall we say, slightly out of step with the actual chaos brewing in the domestic news, doesn't it?
Completely. It's kind of the Icelandic way, isn't it? This veneer of Nordic calm slapped over a reality of,
Yeah.
well, let's just say bureaucratic tangles and some pretty wild economic debates. Yesterday was a prime example.
Absolutely. We saw some really profound contradictions bubble up and some pretty cynical moves, too, I think.
Definitely. So while you were maybe grabbing that second coffee, we were wading through the, let's call it legislative quicksand, and some genuinely tough news reports.
Yeah, it was quite a day.
But our mission, as always, is pretty simple. We try to pull out the actual insights, filter out the noise, maybe some of the outrage, and just give you what you need to sound smart later today.
We do the sifting through the source material, distill the important bits, the weird bits, the totally absurd bits. You save the time. We just, absorb the general despair.
Exactly. Welcome to Bad Things Well Said, Icelandic Newsroom. And hey, if you appreciate us doing this translation service for the national condition, please do hit that subscribe button right now. Give us a thumbs up too. We really do need the validation.
Okay, let's get into it. The first big story, I think, really works like a scalpel cutting right into that cherished myth of the Icelandic welfare state. This isn't just a crack. It feels more like a systemic fracture, really laid bare.
Yeah, we're talking about the public testimony from Hjörleifur Björnsson. It was harrowing. It came after the suicide of his 20-year-old son, Havarar Mani Hjörleifsson. And Björnsson just laid out this meticulous, horrifying timeline of how basically every part of the social safety net failed his son at every single point.
It's devastating to read. And the failure started early, didn't it? The school system apparently just completely failed to support him with his ADHD. And that lack of support, that structure, it seems like it paved the way, straight into serious substance abuse starting when he was only 12.
12 years old.
Yeah.
And then the state's big intervention.
Yeah.
It just made things worse. When he finally got into Stugrilar, the youth facility, can you believe it? They put the 12-year-old right alongside a 17-year-old injection drug user.
Unbelievable.
Bjornsson specifically said that placement actively, maybe even intentionally, worsened the situation. I mean, that's not care. That's institutional negligence.
And it just got worse as he got older. When the problems escalated severe psychosis, addiction, the psychiatric system offered, well, the classic revolving door, didn't it?
Short stays, stabilize maybe a bit, then kick him out with, and this is a quote from the testimony, just a bag of antipsychotic drugs. No real long-term plan. Nothing.
Zero plan, just chemicals, and back out he goes. He was apparently bounced between general addiction wards and units for severe mental illness over and over. It's just such an abdication of responsibility.
It really is. And look, this isn't some isolated tragedy, right? This is happening against a backdrop of, well, overwhelming evidence that the system is buckling.
Exactly. Reports to Child Protection Services, they jumped 12.5% in just the first quarter of this year, over 5,000 notifications. And the main reasons? Neglect and the child's own at-risk behavior. I mean, that's exactly the storm Havarar Mani was caught in.
And don't forget the accountability angle, or lack thereof. That police investigation into the fatal fire at Stular, the same place, where a 17-year-old died 11 months ago.
Still unresolved?
Still unresolved. And there are 3 suspects, 2 of whom are reportedly staff members. I mean, when the supposed caretakers are suspects in a fatal incident, what does that tell you?
It tells you the system is deeply, deeply unwell. Bjornsson's own words kind of summed it up, didn't they? He said he met well-meaning people with tied hands, running what he called a labyrinthine drowning pool for children and teenagers.
A labyrinthine drowning pool. And the final, just grotesque irony. When the police eventually dealt with his son as a repeat offender, they told the father the prisons were just too full to hold him.
So no help from the welfare system and no space in the justice system either.
Basically, the system offers 2 options. Fail completely, or tell you, sorry, no vacancy, it's bleak.
It really is. And, these kinds of failures, they point to a system that's not just maybe morally strained, but financially too, broken in multiple ways.
Which perhaps makes it easier for people to get distracted by these fantasies of instant, effortless wealth. Which brings us neatly to the Drekasvedi, the Dragon Zone.
Ah, yes, the Dragon Zone. This is where Iceland's whole identity crisis plays out as like a financial soap opera. Are we the green, forward-thinking utopia?
Right.
Or do we chase the dream of becoming some kind of mini Norway, a petro-state.
Well, the pro-oil crowd, the Chamber of Commerce, investors like Harrowing, they're pushing a very tempting story. They're talking potential reserves up to 10 billion barrels of oil.
10 billion barrels.
And they claim this could generate something like 60 trillion ISK. Trillion.
Which is just an astronomical number. And Gudjonsson, he went straight for the populist dream, didn't he? Suggesting this could mean Iceland could just abolish all other taxes.
Abolish all taxes. Forget fixing healthcare or quotas. Just drill, baby drill, and live tax-free forever. It's the ultimate Icelandic get-rich-quick scheme, isn't it?
It really is, except, well, reality keeps trying to spoil the party. Minister Johan Paul Johansson, who kind of has the job of being the grown-up here, he publicly called these projections exaggerated hopes.
Yeah, putting it mildly, maybe.
And here's the really inconvenient truth that tends to get glossed over. Back in the 2010s, actual major international oil companies, we're talking the big guys, China's CNOOC, Norway's Petoro, they got licenses to explore this very area.
Right, the ones with the real money and tech.
Exactly. And what happened? After looking into it for a few years, they handed the licenses back by 2018, packed up, left. They concluded the chances of finding commercially viable oil worth actually extracting were just too low. It wasn't worth the investment. So the biggest players on the planet already looked at this treasure and said, not interested.
It's a phantom treasure chest, rejected by the experts. And yet,
polling shows 46.4% of Icelanders still support renewed exploration. The dream of easy money, I guess, is just more powerful than, geological surveys and market economics.
It speaks volumes about the national psyche, doesn't it? This yearning for a windfall.
It does, and it puts the government in a really tricky spot. The minister's trying to balance things, promising to protect 30% of marine waters by 2030, keep up the green image.
Well, constantly feeling the pressure from the oil lobby pushing this dream of black gold. It's this fundamental tension.
Exactly. The pristine image versus the potentially lucrative, but maybe imaginary oil field. For now, the green image holds, but the political dance around it is fascinating.
Okay. Let's shift gears. Time for the water cooler topics, the quick hits of absurdity and political maneuvering that, make daily life interesting.
First, a political U-turn so fast it must have left skid marks. Minister Inga Sæland and Protocol 35.
Oh, this is classic. Inga Sæland, leader of the People's Party, fierce Eurosceptic. Protocol 35, this EU financial thing, was her favorite example of Brussels overreach. Letting Brussels walk all over us, I think was the phrase.
Right. Until suddenly she wasn't confused anymore. She'd apparently been in error and confusion, but has now miraculously seen the light.
And what caused this epiphany, this sudden clarity?
Well, it turns out that this very same Protocol 35, essentially an EU consumer protection rule for finance, might allow Icelandic consumers to launch massive lawsuits against the banks over mortgage interest rates.
Billions. We're talking potentially billions in payouts from the banks back to consumers.
Suddenly, Protocol 35 doesn't look so bad, does it?
Amazing how ideology crumbles when faced with a chance to stick it to the banks and maybe win some votes.
Yeah.
The anti-EU firebrand becomes the consumer champion overnight. It's beautiful in a deeply cynical way.
Politics in action. Okay, moving from cynicism to maybe just plain absurdity. The taxi situation, specifically St. Paul Ida getting his license back so quickly.
Yeah, the driver who, slammed the trunk on the tourist's head, that guy, whose little moment went globally viral. Apparently his timeout was incredibly short.
It seems so.
And this is basically the direct result of that 2023 deregulation, isn't it? It was meant to foster competition, but it just created this total Wild West situation on the roads.
Well, the numbers kind of back that up. 158 complaints to the Transport Authority, and over half were about the drivers themselves, their conduct.
And the ultimate sign that things are, shall we say, out of hand, the Blue Lagoon has had to put up signs warning tourists about predatory taxi pricing.
Oh, wow.
We advertise geothermal bliss, and you get price gouged before you even get your towel. Welcome to Iceland.
Truly world-class hospitality. Okay, finally, let's touch on culture, tech, and protest. A bit of a mixed bag.
Go on.
First, Björk, Iceland's biggest cultural export, right? She's taken a stand, removed her music from streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music, but only in Israel.
Part of that No Music for Genocide campaign.
Exactly. It's a very high-profile statement using her platform. But the tool itself, the geo-blocking, it's kind of blunt, isn't it? It blocks everyone in that location.
Meaning she might be blocking fans or potential allies within Israel, too.
Potentially, yeah. It highlights that digital paradox, making a statement but maybe hitting the wrong targets along with the intended ones.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
Okay. And the tech part.
Right. Contrast that with Icelandic sport. After Elding's handball goalie, Einar Baldvinsson, he's using AI.
AI in handball.
Yep. Heat
Yep.
maps, statistical summaries, analyzing opponent shots, the works. And apparently it's helping him make an estimated 3 to 4 extra saves per game, which is huge in handball.
Wow, that's genuinely impressive, using data to get an edge.
It really is. Smart application of tech to boost performance.
So what's the catch? Or the punchline?
The punchline, which is just peak Iceland, is that his teammates, the defenders, the ones who benefit most directly from these extra saves, apparently have no interest in this whatsoever.
Precisely.
Yep. It's just some weird goalkeeper thing to them. Classic case of innovation running straight into glorious, stubborn, traditional indifference. You gotta love it.
Only in Iceland. Okay, so wrapping up today's tour, what's the big picture?
Well, I think today really showed a state wrestling with its identity and its priorities, doesn't it? You've got the profound failure to care for the most vulnerable right alongside these almost delusional, distracting dreams of tax-free oil wealth. It's quite the contrast.
While the rest of us are, dodging rogue taxi drivers and wondering if AI goalies are the future. Speaking of the immediate future, what's the weather actually doing today, according to the expert?
Ah, yes. The forecast from Veðurstofa Iceland's promises. Wait for it. Heg Suðalegat, that gentle southern breeze again, and cumulatit, so little precipitation.
So, perfectly calm. Misleadingly calm, as usual. Don't let it fool you.
Never does. All right, that was your daily review from Bad Things Well Said Icelandic Newsroom.
Indeed it was. Don't miss whatever chaos tomorrow brings. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Leave us a nice review, maybe. We really do feed on your attention.
Disclaimer. The voices in this podcast were generated by AI. However, all information, facts, claims, concepts, and the script itself were prepared, editorially reviewed, and are the original work of a human author.